Hey YouTube, this video will be the current status of the car and the plans for over the winter for next season. So this is a 1994 Impala SS with a 6-speed conversion. I did the Corbeau seats this year. That was a big change for me in terms of driving this car. I do a lot of autocross and I'm starting to do more track days, and they made a huge difference in in terms of holding me down. I also have a 9-to-1 steering box from Lee Power Steering. That also made this car really fun to drive. Honestly, if there was just two mods that I could do to the car, it would just be the seats and then the steering box. I think that would be a pretty good combination. Right now I'm waiting on a set of wheels. So these are my daily wheels, and then I have my track wheels at the back. So this was the first season I ran these. They have used NT01s. They're about like 5 years old, but they were still such a step ahead of what I had on the car, and I was putting down some pretty quick times. But I have a new set of RTC 60s, so they're 275 4017. I got them for a pretty good deal, and they're brand new, so I'll mount them on next year. You can see the adapters that I run back here. So these wheels are 54 offset. The adapters I have are 54 mm wide, so when I install on the car, it equates to pretty much 0 offset. So this way there isn't any extra load on the wheel hub or anything like that. I've had the Core 3 kit on this car for 2 years now, 2 seasons I guess. They've been holding up. I run pretty aggressive trackpads, so they're really squeaky, but outside of that, they've been holding up. So yeah, really the seats and wheels are the seats and tires was the main two mods this year. Actually, I forgot one thing, which is the torque head kit. So I did the torque head kit earlier in the year. I got it for a pretty good price, but by the end of it, I really got nickel and dime on everything, after figuring everything out. So I made my own valve cover brackets. I want to redo them. I don't think they're that great, especially this side is fine, but the issue with this side is it would cover the oil cap, so I ended up having to remove it and just rest it on there so I can fill the oil. I do have a leak somewhere from here. I think it's from the oil pan gasket, so that's gonna be a pretty decently sized job to do. So in terms of plans for this year, I want to be able to monitor stuff on the car. So I have a triple gauge setup coming soon. Well, I already have the pods. I already have the pillar and the gauge pods. It's just a matter of when I can let the car sit and then start working on it. I also have a double DIN setup waiting, because as much as I want to keep the stock radio, a reverse camera would be nice, especially in tighter areas. I would just feel like driving the car more, and that's the main objective of this car, is just drive it more and more. So in terms of other, winter projects, so you can see that I have the gauge pods here. Let me just turn on the garage light. So I have the gauge pods right here. Those aren't the gauges I'm going to be installing. I have a full set of speed hut gauges. Then I have this. These are 8 advanced induction TFS 215cc heads. I got them for pretty cheap, but there's a reason why they were cheap. They look pretty, I guess, well used. The springs need to be replaced because they're rusted out. And then they just need a nice cleaning. The surface, mating surface, has shrapnel damage on it. You can see right here that pitting, but I was told that as long as it's not in the firing of the gasket, it should be fine to run. So the plan is just refresh all the valve train components, and then I have a cam ordered from Lloyd Elliott. So what I need to do is refresh the cam, refresh the valve train. I guess the only thing is, do I want to pull the motor for this or not? And I think I want to, because to fix that oil leak, you have to lift the motor anyways. And then I want to look at the transmission also, just to make sure that's in good health. I guess one of the reasons why I want to do those heads is they are high flowing heads, but really this is a bit weird, but I like how they're aluminum and they drop 20 pounds per side, so it's around almost a 50-pound decrease. If I combine that with the battery and a lightweight bumper, it would be almost 100 pounds just dropped off from the front without doing any work. I had a Camaro SS steering wheel being wrapped by a shop. The problem was, I gave them the wheel last year and they still haven't got back, so I'm not sure if that's gonna end up happening. But what I would like to do is wire up all the radio buttons on the Camaro SS steering wheel with my new double din setup, and that should be pretty nice in terms of usability. For the shifter, I'm running the tick shifter, but what I did was I ended up threading my own rod that's just a bit taller. I used to run a Hearst stick, but what I would find is that it would add too much play into the shifter. It looked good, but the shifter was just too like it wasn't going into place nicely. With this one, you can hear it, like it's really notchy. Feels really good, but it's also still taller than the stock tick shifter, which is pretty short, and with the seating position in this car, you have to sit really closely, and then 5th and 6th gear get kind of hard to muscle into because of how short it is. And I guess one other major mod that I did this year that really made the car nice and enjoyable to drive is the clear image catback. So I used to have a catback, a Trudel catback that was just dumped at the axle, and it sounded decent, but it just made the driving really not as enjoyable. With the catback from Dan at Clear Image, it's a huge difference. It just sounds way better, and it's actually pretty quiet in the car now. But when you get on it, it sounds really good. So really the major project this year is going to be, this winter, it's going to be pulling the motor. So that's it for me. Those are the winter plans. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything.